Doggone it! If your normally amiable pooch suddenly starts growling at you when you look it in the eye, well, stop doing that. Dogs take such a straightforward look as a challenge and may even attack or start barking at you. If the dog loves you and recognizes you as its master, though, it may look back and make those eyes big and dreamy. That's a sign of trust and friendship. Now, you've probably seen your pet going in circles over its favorite sleeping spot before finally lying down. That's okay. It's their instinct kicking in. It goes back to the times when dogs still ran wild and slept on the ground. They would smooth down the soil and grass with their paws, then dig and scratch at the ground to get rid of stones and tree cones. I still do that. Now they have all those fluffy cushions and beds, yet still they can't but make them even comfier. Running in circles without aiming to lie down, though, might be a sign that something's wrong. If your dog chases its tail only occasionally, that's fine, especially if it's young and full of energy. Just go play with it, and you'll both be all right. But when your furry bud does it too often, take it to the vet just in case. Sometimes, circling and tail chasing could mean inner ear infections or even seizures. "Riley, come here," you call and suddenly burst out laughing. Your doggo comes in hauling itself with its front paws while its furry bottom drags on the floor. That might seem funny, but the reason is usually far from laughable. It means your pooch needs to scratch itself in the nether regions. If it doesn't stop soon or repeats this behavior, take it to the vet. It might be parasites. You ever have this feeling you just can't take all the stress anymore and need to scream? Yeah, pretty much every day. Well, dogs can have it too. When your dog howls, it lets it all out, which makes it feel better. Don't scold your good boy or girl. They're just having a bad hair day and need a little comfort. Yawning in your presence can mean a lot of things apart from just being drowsy. If your dog yawns in front of you while you're all alone, it's a sign of trust and friendship. In the wild, canines yaw to show their submission. If it opens its jaws that wide in public with lots of people around, then the pooch is probably nervous. Cuddle it a bit to reassure it. Cuddles actually mean a lot to dogs. They can lie with you before going to sleep to show you their affection, or just lean at your legs while you're standing. It's their equivalent of a hug. And when you're sitting and your buddy lies on its side right on your feet, it wants to protect you from harm. You only need to wriggle your toes to make it stand up again. It'll take the cue. Now, you've just washed your doggo with a sweet-smelling shampoo and let it run around the yard. But as soon as it goes outside, it finds the biggest, deepest, and dirtiest pool of mud and happily leaps into it. To add insult to injury, the pooch rolls around, covering itself in dirt and grime, and then runs at you, smiling the happiest smile. Oh boy. Well, dogs do that, in fact, to get rid of that shampoo you just washed them with. Consider changing it because your bud clearly doesn't like the scent. Or it could be reaching out to its wild ancestors and trying to cover its own smell with dirt. This way, the potential prey won't see it coming. Beware, stuffed bear. You walk in the park and suddenly your dog stops in its tracks, its fur bristles, its nose goes swiveling in every direction, and it raises its front leg. Don't worry, your friend's just smelled something interesting and is about to investigate the scent. If it's on a leash, well, hold on, otherwise you're risking an unexpected run with your furry detective. When your pooch is done hunting, you notice it eating grass. Hey bud, are you hungry? Let's go home and eat then. Nope, the reason is that dogs need grass sometimes. It helps them better digest the food, and if there's not enough fiber in their diet, they compensate this lack with the green stuff. So consider making changes to your dog's food and try not to let it eat grass too much. Strands might be sharp and it can get cut inside, just like you can cut your finger. Now, you lie in bed, scrolling the feed in your smartphone, then look at your dog, and it suddenly gives you a wink. What the? Answering your question? No, it's not letting you in on some dirty secret. Dogs wink when there's something in their eye they want to get rid of. So take a look if they need some help with that. Or, if you stare at it long enough, it could wink to break the eye contact. Staring straight in the eye for a long time is a threat, so Riley's just letting you know you're cool. Every day, several times a day, You take your dog's food bowl to the kitchen, but then find it in another place altogether. And Riley's not going to explain himself, looking at you with those cutesy eyes of his. Well, hauling their bowls around means they're protecting their food from strangers. Not you, of course, but if there are other animals in the house, they might be prone to stealing each other's food. Many dogs love belly rubs, and if you're lucky enough, you can find that sweet spot on their underbelly that makes your pal's hind leg jerk like crazy. Remember it and go for it every time. Your doggo loves it. It feels as if you're making this spot itch and scratching it at the same time. Imagine how good it must be. It's an involuntary reaction too, much like the knee-jerk reflex in humans. So it also helps the vet find out if everything's okay with your pooch's nerves. If it stops jerking the leg at some point, it might be a signal to go for a checkup. Oops, my belly seems to disagree with today's breakfast. I need the bathroom. Riley, where are you going? I didn't ask for company. Hey, if your dog follows you everywhere, it's because it sees you as part of its pack. An ancient instinct tells it you shouldn't go alone. As the dog sees it, when you're out of sight, you might be in danger. So it needs to protect you just like you protect it at all times. Hey, dogs have dreams too. Watch your pooch when it sleeps. If you see it jerking its legs as if it's running in place, or it's panting or whimpering quietly, it means the fluffy guy's in the middle of a dream hunt. Hey, my dog even barks in his sleep. Who knows? Maybe there's even a place for you in this dream, telling him he's a good boy. Some dogs are so big, you wonder if you could ride them into battle. Well, sometimes other dogs see them as mounts too. Dogs love to play with each other, even if their sizes are incompatible. That's why bigger dogs would allow small ones to jump on their backs and give them a ride. They know their size is their advantage, so in a playful fight, they give their tiny playmate some slack. Hey, Riley, have you broken my favorite cup again? Look at those big eyes. How can you be angry at them? Hey, don't make any mistake. When a dog looks at you like that, it just doesn't understand what you're crazy at. If the pooch realizes its guilt, it will put out its tongue in remorse instead and probably press its ears to the head too. Don't look at me like that. I'm going to work, and you know I have to. If your dog sits in front of the door seeing you off to work, to see friends or whatever, it's not actually being sad or mad at you for leaving it. It's just sitting there to see you off, that's all. This behavior shows you how much you mean to your furry buddy, and he knows you'll be back eventually. So just say goodbye, tell him who's a good boy, and be off with you. Riley, stop growling. The postman doesn't mean you any harm. Aggressive behavior toward humans may seem to come from some arcane sixth sense. It looks as if they know who's a bad person and who's good. But in reality, pooches react to certain movements, physical attributes of a person, or behavior they don't like. Basically, just like we humans do. So, it's perfectly okay to give your dog a little shove if it growls at someone you know for sure is a fine human being. I think Riley also barks at the delivery guy for not leaving him something too. But that's just my theory.